Information is not the problem. And I was talking with a real estate agent the other day, and this prompted this video and this conversation we're going to get into this morning. And that is around, I think, what a lot of agents have, which is like an obsession with finding new information and them dismissing information that they already know for not being valuable. And that's why I think a lot of agents love podcasts and they love, YouTube videos. I get it. I understand. And so I want to stick with me here, and I think this will make a lot of sense. Might give you some insights that will serve you. So, I was having this conversation with this agent about, and this was an agent here in Detroit. And we're talking about, okay, what are we going to do for the rest of the year to get you back on track with the goals that you've set for the year? And so we're starting to get into some business planning. And he didn't say these words, but to be fair, I think that through our conversation, it reminded me of how a lot of agents think. And that is this. We start getting into, okay, let's look at what we have to do to generate business. We start going through some different strategies. We talked about, outbound prospecting, of course. We talked about open house opportunities, of course. We talked about some inbound lead generation strategies. And it was almost like he was saying, yeah, I've heard all of that. What else can I be doing? And it prompted me. I'm like, man, that is so common that I think a lot of agents have this mindset of, yeah, I've heard that before. I know about that. Right. But the question isn't about, have you heard of this before? The question is, are you doing it or not? And I think that's the major difference between agents that are succeeding at a high level and agents that aren't. And I think what happens is, in this world of so much information out there, that a lot of people spend their time just smashing content, just crushing, listening, watching, reading so much content that they hear about all these different tactics and strategies. So nothing is new. And we've talked about that before on the channel, that people really value novelty. They really value new. They really value new information. And if somebody is watching or listening to a video like this, and if they don't hear anything new, something they haven't heard before, they dismiss it for not being valuable. And I love the way that Darren Hardy puts it. He says, yeah, I know you've heard all of this before. That's not what is in question. Information is abundant. There's not a lack of information. There's a lack of execution. My question for you is, are you doing it? Yeah, I know that you should be, eating healthy and working out and getting 10,000 steps a day. I know you know that. That's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about, are you doing it? And so, getting back to this conversation, it was almost like he was on a mission to listen to every podcast, watch every video, read every book, and in this search of checking these boxes, like, all right, this is on this side are all the things I've heard before. Yep, I know about door knocking. Yep, I know about outbound phone calls. Yep, I know about internet leads. I know about pay-per-click. I know about direct mail. I know about networking. I know about all these different things. I know about social media. And this dude does know a lot. Like, he probably knows more about tactics and strategies than maybe any agent that I know, yet he's struggling. And then that prompts me to get into this next piece of this conversation, that if that was it, if information was the thing that we needed, if it was about knowing the information that taught us what and how to do stuff, like, wouldn't it be fair that like everybody would be crushing it? Because, I mean, let's be honest, there's not a lack of information. I mean, there's so much information. It's probably the opposite is true. There's so many books now, so many podcasts, so many videos. You couldn't get through it all. So many, Twitter feeds, or so much Instagram stuff, so many TikTok things. And it's like, man, there's too much information. Yet there's still people out there saying to themselves, well, I just don't know what to do, or I don't know how to do it. And I'm like, nah, that ain't the thing. The thing is, you just aren't doing what you know you should be doing. That's the challenge, I think, for a lot of agents. And so anyway, I thought about that. I'm like, maybe this will help a lot of real estate agents, and in this messaging, to consider this one thought, that is it possible that the difference between where we are today and where we want to be, that it is in fact not a lack of how to, or it's not a lack of what to do, it's not a lack of information, but perhaps a lack of execution? And when I think about that, and I think about the people that are the titans of their industry, the leaders of their markets, it isn't that they have some magic secret that I've never heard before. It's the fact that they just do it day in and day out. That is the secret, if there ever was one. And I think there's so much value in simplicity, in the execution of information. And I tell this story, and I'll leave you guys with this story that I hope will help, just to kind of maybe put a bow on this information overload obsession I think our industry has. I'm going to turn around. It's windy this way. Yeah, I'll go this way. This might be easier. Yeah, much better. Information, like, all right, so here's the best analogy I can give you. Look at doctors, look at physicians as an example. I think most people would agree that doctors, people that have gone through medical school, and are practicing physicians, have more information about the human body than anybody else. I think that would be hard to argue against. Yet, all the studies and all the research that has come out on this suggests that profession at the same time is the most unfit and unhealthy profession in the world. Now, yes, you could argue, well, yeah, because they work long hours, yada, 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 yada. I get it. But wouldn't it be reasonable that somebody that has the most information, that they have more knowledge of what to do and how to do it than anybody on the planet, that if it was just the information, the knowing, the knowledge, that they wouldn't find themselves obese, unfit, unhealthy? And so I can't think of a better analogy than that to suggest that, number one, information is abundant. Everybody knows what to do. Everybody knows how to do it. That it's just more about, are we doing it? And so as you digest content like this and other videos, and I'm trying to do the same thing myself, I'm trying to look for the nuance. I'm trying to look for the inches that will help to get someone to the next step, rather than dismissing something because, oh, I've heard that before. Give me the new stuff. I want the novelty. And that obsession with finding the new information wastes a lot of time, when really we should say, okay, how do I optimize doing what I already know?